Not one, not two, not even three or four, but five. Five dental school acceptances. That's right. Stay tuned as you learn how this pre-dental student, how she did it. Hey, this is Dr. Darwin, the new dentist coach, with another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin on the New Dentist Podcast Show, where you learn about getting into dental school, surviving dental school, getting into residency, and then life as a new dentist. Guys, be sure that you continue liking, sharing, making comments, and then also subscribing, right? Subscribing to the content and sharing the content and commenting about the content so that others, like your colleagues and others all throughout the globe, can continue to learn and be inspired and also be strategic in the things that we've been sharing for over 4 years now. All right. Also, this episode of Ask Dr. Darwin is being brought to you by Dr. Darwin on Demand. Right here, Dr. Darwin on Demand, the exclusive membership community for pre-dental students, current dental students, residents, international dentists, all trying to get to their goals, right? For more details, check down below, and hopefully we'll see you in the membership community real soon, all right? Today's special guest, Five. We're gonna call her Five today. That's her nickname.
Listen.
We're joined with future student Dr. Lativia. Did I say it right?
Lativia.
Oh, Lativia.
It's okay.
I don't know why I'm thinking Ty.
It's all right.
Lativia Nash. Lativia Nash is joining us today, and she's going to tell you about this number today. Five. Please introduce yourself for those that are meeting you for the first time.
Yes. Well, first off, Dr. Darwin, thank you for allowing me to be here today to, again, just help you to continue doing what you're doing. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Lativia Nash. I am from a small town in North Carolina, Pelham, North Carolina. I went to the University of North Carolina at Greensboro for my undergraduate studies. I am currently getting a master's degree in biomedical science. I graduated in May, so I'm almost done. I'm in South Florida attending Berry University. And like you said, I am grateful to have got accepted to 5 schools this year, and I will be attending my in-state school, East Carolina University. And
there you go.
I'm excited.
You should be.
I'm excited.
You should be excited. And we're excited to hear about your journey, which we're going to dive into right now, especially since not only you're an in-state student, North Carolina, but also what you're doing right now is part of those acceptances and preparing you for your matriculation into dental school, so that you'll get one of these from ECU. Right? You get your DMD from ECU. So let's dive in. So why dentistry? Why'd you pick dentistry instead of maybe engineering, medicine,
or something?
science. I mean, why dentistry?
Listen, why dentistry? So it started off at a young age. I can't really pinpoint the exact age, but I do remember just being a young girl. I love going to the dentist. I always got compliments on my smile and my teeth. And when as I was growing up and it was time for me to go to college, I knew I wanted to go to college. I knew I wanted to work in healthcare. But I didn't really know what I want to do. I am a first generation student, so I didn't really have, the resources needed to kind of help decide. So it just went, I actually met my first African-American dentist and was so inspired by her. And again, so when it came time for me to attend college, I did some more research within dentistry. I began to shadow literally my senior year of high school. And once I got to college, I joined, clubs, events. We did Missions of Mercy Clinic, I volunteered. And at that moment, it really solidified my decision to pursue dentistry. And I have continued to pursue it. And here I am. It was one of those things. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to do it. And I didn't stop until I got there. So that's how it happened with me.
Great story. Great story. Now who was that black doctor that you met, the black dentist that you met?
Dr. Sandra Dunqua. She actually graduated from Meharry Medical College. And like I said, where I'm from, we actually do not have any general dentists. She's actually outside her home where she's practicing is like 15 minutes outside of where I'm from. And I was just working one day, and again, I seen her and I knew she was a doctor of that town. And when I met her, I was just like, wow, like, that's really
who are
doctors. Like, you are really like, we don't see many of you. Right. And like I said, from that moment, I literally researched, Sandra Dunqua online, found her number, her practice, contacted them, and she allowed me to shadow, and it just kicked off from there, literally.
Shout out to Dr.
Dunqua, yes.
Dunqua, thank you so much for being that beacon of light to Lativia and probably a lot of other future dentists that haven't even made the journey yet. So that's why it's so important to have to be able to see so that you can believe into what your dream is, right?
Exactly.
Having that figure or being able to see that figure is so important. And you never know how that's going to impact someone later down the line.
Exactly.
But one of the things that definitely impacts people during this process is the application and how you prepare for it. So let's talk a little bit about when you started to kind of put the application together, especially since you graduated undergrad and then made your transition to get your master's. I'm sure that was a strategic part of the application as well. So share a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I applied in 20. I'm actually a reapplicant. So this is my second time applying to dental school. The first time I applied was in 2019. I applied to 10 schools and I did not get accepted to any schools. When I applied again after my master's, I applied, so I'm in my last semester. So after my first year of my master's program, this past cycle, I applied. I started in like June, when the applications came out to, just fill out my information and stuff like that. I had continued to keep in contact. I continued to keep in contact with my previous dentist I shadow, previous professors who had written my letters of recommendation when I applied in 2019. So it was much of, I would say probably like February of 2021, I contacted them. Hey, I'm applying to dental school. Will you be willing to write a letter of recommendation for me? They all agreed to that. And I'm grateful for that. And then, like I said, once the application cycle started in June, I began to, fill out my application. I took my summer off because you can take a master's program. You can take a summer class, in my master's program, and if needed. I decided not to. So from May, when it was my last semester of my first year, until I took my DAT August 12th, I took that time off from June to August to study for my DAT. And then I applied. I got my first interview September 9th, I think, if I can remember. And then after that, the interviews, continue from August until December 1st. And that's when I heard from schools December 1st.
Good. And one of the reasons you heard from schools on December 1st was because months before that, not only did you take, but you also prepared for the DAT, right?
Exactly.
So that's a great segue to talk about how you prepared. Share a little bit about your process in preparing for the DAT, because, that's for a lot of people can be a big barrier to getting one of these, right?
Exactly.
It's a barrier, or it's the thing that we have to do as part of the process. So share a little bit about your DAT preparation.
Yeah. So honestly, Dr. Darwin, my biggest advice is if you don't have to work or have school and you can just take those 3 to 4 months to study, I highly recommend that. The first time I took my DAT, I'll be honest, I made a 15 and I took a gap year and I was working as a dental assistant full time and trying to study. And it was it was hard balancing that. So again, if you could take that time off to just study and focus on your DAT full time, I highly recommend that to anybody. I use DAT, so don't do this because it can be a little expensive, but I use DAT Bootcamp mostly. Me and a friend had access to iPrep, and I used iPrep just for the sciences, just for organic chemistry, general chemistry, and a little bit of biology. And that was that. Mostly, like I said, again, DAT Bootcamp the whole time, and then I use iPrep for the sciences. I do believe she has little tricks and stuff that would help.
Now, was that the first time you took it?
No. Okay,
Second
so
time.
that's the
Because
second time. So the first
because you
time,
made an adjustment. Evidently, you
yes,
made an
exactly.
adjustment.
Exactly. I made an adjustment, but again, Dr. Darwin, my biggest adjustment was taking that time off, not to work, not to do anything,
Yep.
and
Yep.
focus.
Focus.
Because when I tried to balance work full time and school, it didn't work out. It did not work out. But once I took that time and I set that time aside and said, hey, I'm studying from here and here. I didn't hardly go out. It worked out. I had a 20 science. I'll tell my scores. I had a 20 science and an 18 academic average. So yeah, and I made a 22 in bio. So again, I was just like, what is going on here? I couldn't believe it. Like, I walked out of testing center just grateful and just so excited. So the first time I used DAT Bootcamp, like I said, I love DAT Bootcamp. Don't have nothing against the program. I think with me from the first and second time was just taking that time out and really focusing on studying for my DAT.
And I think that's the biggest takeaway. And this may not be ideal for everybody, right?
Exactly.
To not be in school and study only for the DAT. But I think the takeaway is
if you can.
You can, because you can focus.
Exactly.
That is your job. Your job is to prepare so that you can succeed.
Exactly.
With the score that you're looking for, right? Because honestly, everybody starts out with a 30. You know that, right? You take the DAT before you start, you got a 30. Now, to take the exam, your job is to maintain that 30. And depending on how your preparation is, you'll get a 18, 20, 22, 24. It just all depends, right?
Exactly.
But I think that's the major takeaway, because otherwise you're distracted trying to finish your undergrad degree, trying to get ready for graduation, putting in your application, or maybe not, but at least studying for the DAT. It's too much.
It's a lot. Exactly.
It's too much. So
it is.
And I think that's a great bonus tip for people as well to hear that, for that takeaway as well. So let's talk about the schools.
Okay.
Because I know you're from North Carolina, and that probably played heavily into the type, the schools that you applied to. So we know that to get 5 acceptances, you can't apply to 2 schools. You apply to So let's talk about the number of schools you applied to, and if you want to share wherever else as well.
Yeah, I'm very open about all this. I applied to 10 schools, mostly along the East Coast. University of Maryland, Boston, University of Louisville, Tufts, Meharry, my in-state schools, UNC, ECU. I applied to 9 schools, I'm sorry. And I think that was it. Yeah, I think that was it. I think
Yep,
that was it.
that's
I
8.
applied to those schools. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I applied to those schools. I had and sorry, Temple and Michigan. Temple and Michigan were the only two schools who I have not heard anything back from. They kind of just ghosted me, which is okay. But starting off, I had interviews with my in-state school, East Carolina was my first interview, and then I had Meharry. I had Louisville and Tufts. Um, I'm not gonna say I don't recommend this. I probably should have went. I did have an interview with the University of Maryland and and UNC Chapel Hill, but they were post December interviews. And once December 1st came, and East Carolina has always been my top choice, I'll say that, and my number one school for different reasons. And we can talk about that, Dr. Darwin, later. But once I got my ECU acceptance on December 1st, it was like,
I'm done.
I'm done. I'm going there. I'm going there. I'm going there. And it's like,
Right.
Maryland
Time
and
out. I'm done. I'm
yeah,
good. I'm
like,
good.
oops, I'm sorry. Like,
Thank you, but no thank you. I'm gone.
exactly,
Got the shirt
exactly.
on. I'm already gone. I've been waiting.
Exactly. And like, so I did not go to those two interviews. I probably should have, but at the moment I was just like, I'm happy with my decision. These are great schools. I'm grateful for the opportunity, but they can give that to somebody who will probably go, because I knew I wasn't really going to go because I got accepted to my in-state school. So it's kind of
Yep.
like,
Yep.
but I'm grateful for the opportunity, because again, when I applied in 2019, I didn't get no acceptances. So
Right.
to
Right.
get these acceptances was a grateful opportunity for me.
Well, that's good. That's good. And again, that's knowing what the assignment is, right?
Mhm.
If you know the assignment is my number one choice is ABC school, and I get an interview and I get an acceptance at ABC school on December 1st, night night, I'm done.
I'm done. I'm done. It's
I'm
like,
done.
you
I'm
got to do the
done.
interview with Tara, continue,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So it was like, once I got that call at 7:30, I actually told her on the phone, like, you want my deposit now? You want to take my credit card
Oh, you were
payment?
ready. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you
you want my
definitely were
credit
ready.
card payment now, because
That's
I'm
good.
I'm, I'm coming.
I'm
I'm
coming.
coming.
I'm there. I'm driving right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
But
drop off the deposit right now.
exactly. But I did get accepted to East Carolina, Meharry, University of Louisville, Tufts, and Boston. So all great schools. And again, I chose East Carolina.
Awesome. That's such great news. Anything about the interviews that were strange, or maybe that you weren't prepared for, or some questions that you were like, "Ooh, that's a good
Ooh.
one."
Honestly, I will say, so at Barry University, our she's like our advisor. She does really well with helping us prepare for the interview when it came to like mock interview. She gave us a mock interview with the list of questions from whatever schools, that she kind of got for previous students, and just out here, there are certain questions, and she allowed me, and she asked me, like the main questions: why dentistry, those type of main questions that they ask, why this school, just stuff you should know. And so I felt very prepared when it came to my interviews. I don't know if it's because I do love to talk, but the interview process was something that I was like, oh, I know this is going to be a breeze, because I love to talk. I can have conversation with people. So I don't think there was any question that was like, ooh, like, nothing out the norm. Again, once the schools asked me those three basic questions: why dentistry, why my school, and well, I'll say those are two basic, the normal questions that everybody will ask: why dentistry and why their school. I feel like once you can ask, you ask and can answer that question and articulate it correctly,
Yeah.
that literally starts the conversation
Yeah.
to, then they may ask, about your DAT, or they may ask,
Well, that's what I was going to ask. If they,
yeah,
if they, because not
I
that
didn't,
you, I mean, I'm not sure if you shared with them your first DAT score in your
mhm,
application, but if you did, you know, that in itself was a jump
yeah,
that was somewhat probably worth a question, like, we saw that
What?
you did this, and then
Mm-hmm.
you took it a second time, you did this. Why did you get the first score, and how did you get the second score? Something
Yeah,
something like
I am grateful. Sorry, I wasn't
no,
trying
no,
to cut
no.
you. I am grateful that only Boston, University of Boston was the
Hmm.
only school who asked me really like why, like, what did you do for your DAT,
Hmm.
or what did you do to improve your grades?
Hmm.
Literally every interview was like I told you, tell me about yourself, tell me about why this school, why dentistry. And I guess I kind of articulated it so well to the point that it just flowed in conversation where I like I said, I remember in my Meharry interview, after I asked those basic questions, we started talking about, he knew some of my mentors, and he knew some people from North Carolina. So,
Yep.
and after a while, it was like, oops, my 20 minutes is up. I will say at my East Carolina interview, I wasn't expecting it, but she is like, tell me, sell yourself to me in 1 minute. And she was like, go. So I was like, ooh,
Elevator
like,
speech. Elevator
exactly.
speech.
Exactly. So I just went, but I did not have any questions really related about like my academic. It was more so them trying to get to know me as a student, while they're school, and just learn about me a little bit more. I did have, questions on my application about whether it was like volunteering, or, why did you choose this? Like, because I did a lot of things within the homeless community. I do like to work with the homeless. So, they may have asked little questions about that, like, for example, what interests you to volunteer mostly in the homeless community or something. But I did not have anything out the norm. It was literally nice conversation, back and forth conversation to just get to know me
Yeah.
as a person.
Yeah, and that's what most of those are really about, because
Mm-hmm.
everyone's going to have scores, everyone's going to have letters of recommendation, everyone's going to have a CV,
Exactly.
and everyone's going to have a story, but it's the content of that story and how you communicate it and the vibe that they get to see whether you will fit into that school's community, and how
Mm-hmm.
they think that you will probably contribute to that
Exactly.
school's community as well, which
Exactly.
is very, very important as well.
Exactly.
Um, so, what's also important is learning about some of the challenges, right? Because none of us who have applied to dental school, including myself, have found this to be a challenge-free
Mm-hmm.
process. Because there's been some
Exactly.
some hard parts. So,
The
what was the hardest? What's been the hardest part for you in this process?
hardest part for me, I would say one of my number one is, again, being a first generation student. I didn't come from a rich background or none of that. I think one of the hardest things was the finances, especially again, if you're someone like myself who has to take care of yourself. Um, it can get expensive. I mean, it's expensive. Not it can get, it's expensive, So sometimes that can be a little frustrating, a little challenging, just like, man, where am I gonna get all this money to do this, and
And
just a little side note,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, just a little side note, never be afraid to ask for help. My in 2019, I set up a
Mhm.
GoFundMe account. Like I had to, humble myself. Hey, I needed help. And literally I raised the money to be able um to fund my first application cycle. I applied for application waivers. I got the DAT waiver and the application waivers, so I applied for those things because I knew I needed the help.
Yep.
Another challenge was, again, just, again, going back to when I applied in 2019, not hearing anything for those schools. It can be kind of dreadful to, especially if this is what you really want to do, and heartbreaking to hear like, wow, no schools want me. So that was challenging at first, to just like, man, like this is really what I want to do, but I haven't heard anything from these schools. Um And I was looking down because I had wrote some things down. So I would just say, sorry, the hardest part again would be just the finances, and just, if you don't get in one cycle and dentistry is what you really want to do, pursue it. Continue to keep going. It's going to be challenging. In my, me now in my master's program, it's not easy. But I was able to overcome, and I'm continuing to learn time management, how to study effectively. And, you're going to have challenges throughout this journey. Again, whether it's finances, whether it's school, whether it's just whatever.
Haters.
Yes, everything, but it's like,
haters.
if dentistry is what you want to do, like, continue. I didn't have a plan B. I did not have a plan B.
That's
and
good.
So, I just overcame those challenges and did what I had to do. And, it worked out. It worked out for me.
It did. It worked out 5 times.
Five times.
Right. It resulted in 5 times of it working out.
It still hasn't hit me. It still hasn't hit me that
listen, it'll hit you that first day of class when you got when you got all these classes. But then again, one of the luxuries of you being at a master's program like Barry, you already know what's coming down the pipeline.
Exactly.
Right.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I've had students, like, if I've posted like, oh, we're learning about this or something, I've had dental students contact me and be like, remember that, because we had that same slide, or what you're learning, like, we're learning right now. So make sure you nail down on that and learn that material, because literally what you're learning right now is going to, like, you're going to learn it in dental school. And I will say about Barry, our professors take a lot of advice from students who have gotten into dental school and med school, and they kind of tailor in a way, not 100%, because of course we still got to learn all the material, but they tailor, hey, really focus on this because we know you're going to learn this. Focus on this because you're going to have a class on this. So I would say Barry University did well. It's an amazing school. And I recommend it to any student, honestly.
Well, that may be a good thing for people to remember as far as tips and advice. And I want you to share 3, but at the same time, part of it sounds like, is the recommendation, if you're going to do a gap year, quote unquote, a gap year, don't not fill it in with something, right? Like, do it with intentionality, and do it with a program that's not only going to enhance your candidacy, but it is going to prepare you, maybe even to take the DAT again if you want to up your score. But it's going to prepare you for your interviews, because then if they ask you questions about, well, do you think you're ready for the challenge, or how do you know that you can handle the course load? Those types of questions. Or if they're thinking it and they haven't said it, by you being enrolled in a program currently, they know. Most of these schools know, and some of those schools that you apply to, they're very familiar with Barry University.
Exactly.
And their matriculation rates for medical and dental school, from their graduates that have finished the master's program, they know that you will be ready and prepared to handle the curriculum day one of dental school. So that's definitely a tip, I think, a piece of advice for those of you that are thinking about taking some period between dental school and undergrad. Don't not fill it in, and don't keep the gap open, but use it as a period of time where you're enhancing your application with a master's program. So that's one. I'm sure that sounds like that's one tip. What other advice would you have for pre-dental applicants?
So just kind of to piggyback off that too, because I know a lot of students will ask, like, should I do a master's versus a post-bac? I decided to do a master's because I needed to improve on both DAT and my GPA. And when you take a master's, they still see your undergraduate GPA, but your new GPA is like they're split in two. Versus a post-bac, your what you get in your post-bac will just kind of add on to your undergraduate degree. So if you get a 4.0 but you had a 2.9, it's still going to only give you like a 3.2 maybe. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. So, definitely do master's program. It may be expensive, but again, I always say this, if dentistry is something you really want to do, I looked at it as an investment. And
Yep.
I looked at it as an investment, and it has gotten me so far. And I recommend Barry not only for their willingness and their help with us, but we have schools, I can look at my email now and you'll probably see, the University of Utah, I'm just throwing stuff out there, will be having an info session. Tufts University is having an information session. They provide the resources and stuff needed for us. So I definitely recommend a master's program if you can do it. Kind of just going back with costs. Don't let costs deter you from achieving your goals. It's money out there, it's resources out there for DAT, for application. Like I said, don't be afraid to let people know, hey, I need help. Like, I need you to help me because this is what I really want to do. Have confidence, have confidence in yourself. You may receive no, you may fail a class, it may not work, you may not get in the first time, but it's going to all work out. I don't know your higher power. If I kept God with me through this every day, and so, never be afraid to pray and just trust God and just know that everything is going to work out. And that's be some great advice that I could just give, just to,
That is some great advice. Yeah, because God needs a dentist too.
Yeah.
God likes to smile. He likes to talk. He likes to talk to you in your ear.
Yeah.
He can't be talking with a rag in his mouth, or I should say, she doesn't need to talk with a rag in her mouth. So she likes dentists too. So yeah,
Exactly.
be prayerful, but also be prepared and network and consider doing a master's program and find you're right. There are resources out there.
Mhm.
There's 2 dental students right now up at Tufts that have just created a scholarship fund, and I'll put the link down below. That it's a scholarship to help pre-dental students put together their application. It's a scholarship to help defer the costs that you
Exactly.
talked about that are associated with applying to dental school and how that can be a big investment. That link is down below as well. But also this link that we have with you today has been very helpful. What's the best way for people to contact you if they want to, reach out to you and talk to you more?
Yeah. So, either Instagram or email, either or is fine. My email
What's your IG? Give me your IG.
My IG is, I need to go ahead and put my doctor student, I got to make a new name, but as for now, it's TEVADEJEUNE. That's just my nickname and my middle name, but you can follow me there. And then again, via email, you can find me on Facebook, Lativia Nash. Email my first and last name, LATIVIANASH95@gmail.com. And I'm always open to help anybody. Like I said, because if it wasn't for my help when it came to my mentors, whether it was pre-dental students, dental students, I wouldn't be where I am today. So never be afraid to ask for help and find those resources.
That's right. I always say, you guys hear, those that listen and watch, listen to the podcast, I say this all the time. The smartest person in the room whether it be a dentist, whether it be a physician, whether it be a farm student or engineering student, whatever. The smartest person in the room is the one that asks for help. So hopefully today you all got some help that was needed in your own journey to becoming a dentist and applying to dental school. So Doc, we appreciate you. We congratulate you.
Thank you.
We love that you're representing ECU.
Hey, East Carolina.
And I'm sure they're going to be glad, and they're very privileged to have you and be able to train you in becoming a dentist. Hopefully these videos right here, guys, are helpful in your journey in becoming a dentist as well. And that is our time. Love,
thank you,
peace, and smiles. We'll see you next week. Join us next week.